The 1994 genocide against Tutsi, I can say, is we've experienced darkness, the total absence of humanity, where children were being smashed against walls, women being raped, ordinary people, young, all got involved.
In 1994, Rwanda experienced the most traumatic period in its history. Tensions between the African country's two main ethnic groups, the Hutus and the Tutsis, had simmered for decades. The assassination of the then Hutu president was the catalyst for 100 days of genocide against the Tutsis. Over 800,000 people, mostly minority Tutsis, were massacred. Countless more were forced to flee the country in fear of their lives.
People went to kill the family-in-law. After killing them, they come to kill my wife.
Cousin, aunties, uncles, we lost so many people here in Rwanda.
The killings finally stopped when the Rwandan Patriotic Front seized control of the country. Situated in the nation's capital, the Kigali Memorial Center is the final resting place for over 250,000 people. "25 years on, it remains a place of solemn remembrance."
The 100 days from April to July, it marked a period of darkness, experiencing the end of the nation. 25 years after is totally different. People, they tried and they started that journey of building peace.
After the Civil War and genocide, President Paul Kagame invested in sporting programs which encouraged social change and unity. One particular area where funds were channeled into was Paralympic sport. Dominique Bismana lost his leg during the conflict.
They used to work in crutches, but after some exercise, some practice, they become very strong and they do not use again crutches. This is one of the fact that, for person with disability, we have to really practice sports.
A keen volleyball player before losing his leg, Dominique was introduced to the sitting version of the sport. He then began recruiting players for his own team, one of whom was Jean Ricardo.
Outside the university is where I met, Jean, because someone told me that he used to be a player and he was a good player. So when I met, and I found that he had some skills. So he joined me and we started playing together.
In the 1990s, Jean was part of the government forces who fought the Rwandan Patriotic Front. He stepped on a landmine whilst on patrol and lost his leg. On meeting Dominique, a man that he may have faced on the battlefield, Jean was happy to help him build a team.
Our president has mixed the forces. He mixed the injuries. He mixed the government. That is why to mix in playing, sitting volleyball is nothing.
In normal life, in social life, sports has, a power to unite, to bring people together.
Dominique and Jean went on to represent Rwanda at the 2012 Paralympic Games in London.
One of the dream of every sportsman to be there. So you can imagine, as a Rwandan, it was also the first time a country in Sub-Saharan countries to be in London, to be in the Paralympic Games. So as a Rwandan, as someone who starts sports, you can imagine it was really my dream to be there.
Dominique Binzimana serving for Rwanda.
Rwanda were the lowest-ranked nation at those Paralympics. They lost their first 9 games, but they did manage to beat Morocco in their final match. Jean was delighted to have made it to those games in London, and he couldn't thank Dominique enough for introducing him to the sport.
It was very amazing to be in a big competition like this. Paralympic Games. That is why when I reach there, I say, God bless you, Dominique.
Rwanda beat Morocco in that final game by 3-1.
I think that's it. Referee gives them that point.
Every time supportive Rwanda because we were the weak team in the Paralympic Games, but every time people in England, they were always behind Rwanda. So you can imagine, it was my first time, to play in stadium full of people, about 5,000 people. So you can imagine it was really amazing, wonderful.
Today, the two men remain close friends despite Dominique's playful accusations that it was Jean who shot his leg off during the war.
Also always a joke because, sometimes when we are together, after a game, we are talking to each other, we are joking. So I always imagine that it was the one who shot at me. So, and also vice versa. Because, this show that, sports, you can talk about everything that, someone cannot talk. So that's why, sports really has a power.
Jean cherishes his relationship with Dominique.
He taught us to love, to visit, to have a good character as a players who loves their country. His taught is no. We are Rwandan, we play as Rwandan people, we love each other as Rwandan.
The two men are now retired from the national team, but they still play and coach in the Rwandan League. This sport united them, and they hope to pass on their skill and experience to the next generation of Rwandans.
Because we have also a new generation in our team, we have to also try to explain to them what happened and also to educate them to be together, to unite people with disabilities, especially sportsmen, through sports.
Everywhere I teach some groups to be Rwandan, to be united, to don't look at the past, look at the future. We have to build our country. We have a mission to change. We have a mission to teach everywhere that our country will be built by his people.